You can run, but you can't hide.
Yeah, this first one is it's just the basics, and people like Ann or somebody, it might just be old hat, but it's good to refresh on the video side of it. Some of the things like composition are gonna relate to photography, um, but yeah. So hello everyone. I'm JD. I've met most of you, but yeah, I've been asked to help out with video. There's a new section to Blood Horse, as you know, it's Blood Horse Premium or Blood Horse Plus. That's going to offer some video aspects, and one of those boxes is kind of insider clips from on-site events. So whether it be sales or races or what have you. Um, but kind of the thinking of it is, if you're and chime in on the way you guys kind of conduct interviews on site. But the thinking is, if you're on site and they're like, say it's a sale, um, and then a horse sells big money, you go chase the buyer or whoever, and there's like a media scrum there probably, and you're getting your normal um, uh, interviews that you would normally do, but at the end of that, you could possibly just ask that person if they have a minute for a video clip, and it's just a quick, maybe one question. Um, um, so you can get it on your phone and then upload it to a cloud, and then be able to do some basic, just slap on an in slate or a lower third, and then from that cloud, it goes to your computer. You put that in slate on, and then it goes to Brightcove, and then it fans out. So that's kind of the overview of what we're going to be going through. But this first session is just the basics of how to film on your phone. Most of you know this already, but we're just going to go over it just so everybody's on the same page. Does that sound good, everybody? I don't know. We're just going to go through this here. So yeah, so just kind of the overview of what I was kind of talking about. Can everybody see my keynote here?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah, it's great.
Good deal. It's the first time doing this right here. So yeah, we're just going to talk about subject placement, audio surroundings. We're going to record horizontally, not vertically. This is for the Brightcove and all the players to act nicely with the video. Your composition, your framing, trying to be as steady as possible. That's one of the things. We'll go over this later. Why I wanted to get the models of your phones, because unless your phone's pretty old, you're going to have optical image stabilizer built into it, and that helps out greatly with video. So it's not a cure-all. You still have to be steady, but it helps out greatly for sure. And we just want to keep down the amount of equipment that you'll have to bring with you. I don't want you all to have to bring around some sort of handheld gimbal. We just want to, if you can practice on your technique, you more than likely won't need it. So anyway, that's being steady. I'm going to keep it short and sweet because these files are going up to a cloud. We need to kind of keep them short because of the processing time, the uploading, the downloading. And so I'm thinking like 2 minutes or less. And I understand if somebody goes on, but that's kind of the overview on that. And then yeah, we review your clip just to make sure it recorded and all that in practice. So we'll go into the first step. My first step, what I like to do, even if somebody, if I'm on vacation and you're in front of like of some scenic thing and somebody asks me to take their photograph. Everybody's had that done to them. The first thing I do, and it's just a habit of mine, is I will take their phone. They give me their phone, and then I take my shirt or whatever, and I wipe off their lens of their phone. There's just so many times of where a video can just look like it's in the mud just because the lens is smudged. This is the very first thing that I do. It's in your pocket, it's in your hands, so it's just a great habit. The very first thing, as soon as I pull it out of my pocket, I wipe off that lens of my cell phone. Now, the lens itself, it's pretty tough. You're not going to scratch it. I mean, unless your shirt has sandpaper on it. I mean, it's going to be fine. So, so that's the first thing that I do is clean off the lens. And so the next step would be subject placement. It's a very tricky thing, but can be easy. These are a couple examples here. So it's all about the lighting. Now, if you're on location, here is, can you see my pointer too? I'm just wondering.
Yes.
Okay, cool. So yeah, I took this from, I think this was on Facebook. It was, I think it was Keeneland, but somebody, like their person recording, now you can see the background is nicely lit, is perfectly exposed, but then you have your subject right here is just completely shadowed. So the super easy fix to this, Anne knows this, most photographers know this, is you either have to match the light of your subject, or your background has to be darker than your subject. So a quick fix for this situation right here would either bring this person into that light back here so they're both lit. So you don't have this situation where your phone, especially phones, because they're all auto unless you tell them not to be auto, but we're gonna be auto for these videos that we'll be doing. So your camera is thinking, okay, well, I need to expose for this because it's taken up all of this frame. So it's going to completely not take into regard that your subject is totally dark. So to fix this, just take your person, if you can. I understand there might be situations these people are in a hurry that you want to interview or what, but I mean it really makes a difference if you can match the light. So here's an example down below this where the light is matched. So the light on Terry here, it's all of it's in the shade actually. So, but the big point is that his background is not brighter than him. So this background is much brighter than him. So that's why you get this situation here. And like I said, the quick fix is just to bring that person into the light or find a place where your background is darker than your subject. Because let's face it, you guys aren't going to be walking around with, big strobe lights and, we're just using natural light here. So just a few techniques can really help out the overall look. So you guys with me still? I don't know, I'm kind of blowing through this here. And if you got any questions, seriously, just jump in. It's not a problem. Or if you see like something that, okay, well, this probably won't work for what we're doing. But am I right on most of these? What you would be doing really is a lot of sales and I guess racing events. Are there any other things that you might be doing that this could be incorporated into, like a short clip of a
like a stallion show or something like that, which would be at a farm.
Okay.
On site at a farm.
Or a industry event like a breeder's banquet or something like that.
Okay, perfect. Yeah, that's really it's just the subject placement really. And if you're around barns, if you honestly, if like this situation here at the Keeneland, if the camera person went around to this other side and shot reverse back the other way, I'm sure it would have been completely fine, because everybody would be in the shade, the barn, the person, everybody. So it's really just equalizing your light. So anyway, that's enough of your background. So let's go on to, hey, here we go. We got some problems with the wind. Like Sunday was incredibly windy. All right, and it's a total nightmare for videographers. Wind is usually your enemy, but you know, you can make it work for yourself. So I'm looking into getting some lavalier or lapel mics that just plug straight into your phone. That's another reason I wanted to know everybody's model, to see if, you know, you can get one type of microphone, multiples, that'll work with any phone. So, but half of video is audio. So you have, I'm sure you've clicked on videos and it looks great, but there was something wrong with the audio, and that will make you click off of a video sooner than anything, is that you just can't hear them, unless there's captions, of course. But audio is incredibly important. So we're going to try to get the best out of your cell phone or iPad or whatever you're using. So if you're in a situation like a sale at Keeneland or Phasig, and you're still in the sales pavilion, okay, well, there's not a lot of wind in there. Hopefully there's not a lot of wind indoors. But a lot of times you don't really have to worry about having an external microphone if your camera is close enough, your microphone is close enough. The best audio quality is having your microphone as close as possible to the source. So you'll see movies, they have shotgun mics. Okay, well, they're trying to, you'll see them, those shotgun mic will dip into the frame because the best quality is the closest they can get to their mouth. So, and then you'll see some videos on YouTube or wherever where they just use the camera mic and it's 10 foot away. Well, that audio is horrible. So, because it's so far away from the source. So the best audio quality is to get the microphone as close as you can to the source. So that's another thing with the lapel mic. You know, it'll be plugged straight into your phone. You ask your subject, hey, do you mind if we get, you know, a 1 minute clip? And then depending on the sensitivity of COVID or social distancing, they could clip it on themselves if they like, or you can just clip it on them or whatever. But if you have the clip somewhere right around where a necklace would be, that is a perfect spot for getting very good quality audio. So anyway, but if you're in a situation like this picture here, and you're outside and there's no way around it. I mean, the person has to leave. He can't come inside or inside a barn with you to do anything. He's just got, or they've got to go. Okay, well, that's fine. You can put the mic on them, but you see the direction of the wind that's blowing here. And I understand, like, there's sometimes that it's just gusty and it's blowing every which way. But in certain situations like this, you could put the mic on the person here and put their back to the wind. And a lot of times their back will just block all of that wind. And so you would be here and then kind of shooting this way, and their mic would be right around in there. And a lot of times that wind will be blocked enough to get some good audio. So yeah, so audio is half of video. It's incredibly important. And I'm going to be looking at getting your lavaliers in there. How many people, just out of curiosity, how many people do you think would be on location at one time? Because I don't know, there's like 14 or so people. I don't think that you need 14 microphones, right? So, like, what if we got a few and then if you need more, then we could add. Like, how many do you think people would be on location at once?
I mean, it depends on the events. So for the major events, like Oaks Day and Derby Day, because of COVID this past year, we had 4 writers, and then Anne was heading up our photo team, so Anne would be on site. But I mean, for a lot of these events this year, it just kind of depends on what kind of access we get. I'd say if you started off with 4 or 5, that would be a really solid number to share. And then if we ended up, Breeders' Cup is going to be our biggest event as far as, a lot of races and a lot of people to cover.
Yeah. Okay, that makes sense.
But I mean, if you start out with 4 or 5, then I'm sure we can go from there. And then they can be, I mean, Scott, you can speak to this if you think your department needs a couple separate, but the way that I was thinking of it is that they just be shared in the editorial department. So, if Eric knows that he's going to go out to Spendthrift, he'll take a mic with him, but he'll bring it back type of deal. So it wouldn't just be, Eric has this mic and it's Eric's mic type of deal.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't think we need one specifically for the sales group. I think we would just borrow from editorial when we know we're going to be somewhere.
So maybe 5, JD, to start off.
Okay. All right. Yeah, I'm looking at a few different models right now, and of course the price ranges greatly. You can buy a premium product of anything nowadays, but anyway, it's a lot of times though in audio and video or photography, you do get what you pay for on that. So we'll see on those for sure. Okay, so that's what a lavalier looks like. I'm sure everybody knows what they look like, but may or may not be Rode. But anyway, so let's go on here. All right, so we're going to be filming in horizontal view. So I know I've gotten to a huge habit of shooting video vertically, but for what we're doing, we're going to have to definitely shoot horizontal. It like I said earlier, it plays nicely with Bright Cove and any type of editing situations. Say if you start recording vertically and then you realize, oh no, I need to be horizontal. I don't know. There's 2 camps on that. One camp is just keep going vertically, but I'm always under the impression that, well, I can fix it in post. But if you can remember, just try to shoot horizontally. That way, it can be used not only for what we're doing in the website and whatnot. You could also crop a horizontal to 1x1, a square, and that can be actually used on a lot of different social media platforms too, if you choose. Say a clip or something like this didn't really work for the premium site, but it would work better for social. It's your choice, but the main thing is just film horizontally for all of these, and then you've got best of both worlds. So, okay. All right, composition. Ann knows all about this one. Ann, you want to take the wheel? No, I'm just kidding. So here's a couple of examples here. This was from Breeders' Cup. Hey, yeah. And so really, it's just frame your subject in the center, but the big thing is your headroom. There's a lot of talk of, okay, how much is good headroom, or how much is too much, how much is not enough, but it all depends on how close you are to the subject in my eyes. So like here's a single shot, and you want to have just enough to where the person isn't like dead center of the frame and their head is not getting cut off. Just a little bit of breathing room above their head. That's just kind of your natural composition. If you have a 2-shot, just center them both up. If you have 2 people, and of course the taller person, you'll have that same amount of headroom. So composition, I mean, if you do it enough, it just comes naturally. So just keep in mind, you want to have a little bit of breathing room above their heads. So, and then go on to optical stabilization. And I think everybody's phone has this. I was looking, and it does look like everybody has. I think there's about, I think one person or a couple people that didn't respond, but it is very, very handy. Hang on, I think somebody might be trying to chime in here. Okay, hang on a second. There we go. All right, so yeah, it's just being steady as possible. So it's a lot of techniques out there, but really you just got to look at your monitor, look at your screen on your phone. I always just keep looking at it. I'll look off at the subject every now and then, but my main concern is to have a steady, well-framed shot, because you're not running around the grounds with a big heavy tripod. It's just all handheld stuff. And yes, that is some of the appeal of these too, because we know that, okay, these are cell phone shots, but we're going to try to be as steady as possible. And sometimes you can, maybe tuck your elbow into your body and just be as steady as possible. The built-in image stabilizer works quite well, but I mean, it's not completely magic. I mean, if you're doing backflips, it's going to be jittery. So really that's the big thing. I want to keep the equipment list down low for what you have to bring with you to these things. So lugging around a handheld gimbal is not fun. I understand. So that's why we're going to try to be as steady as possible, and we'll practice that a little bit. So anyway, there's that. And then,
Is that a setting on your phone that you were talking about?
the image stabilizer, it's already set. Let's see, Christy, you've got an iPhone SE. It's already set. It's already built in. It's already set.
Oh, okay.
So I don't think you can. I'm not sure if you can even turn it off, but I know.
Okay. Well, I just wanted to know if it was a setting I needed to have turned on, because I have a lot of things turned off.
Yeah. No. That it should be already going. And then but if you're having problems, you certainly contact me, and we'll get it settled. But yeah, that's just being steady and keeping your shot as steady as you can. Okay, and then keeping it short and sweet. So your clips, doing certain tests, we'll be taking these clips and just uploading them to a Google Cloud, and then from that cloud, they can be accessed anywhere. And that's kind of the idea, to maybe pull them down from your office or your home or your laptop or wherever you are. And then, trimming the beginning of it, or if you have to trim the end of it or whatever, you can do that stuff inside your phone right now. But I'm looking at certain video editors that are free that can do all of that. So, and they work for Linux, Mac, Windows. So I'm looking at the best platform for you guys. But if you keep the clips to around 2 minutes or under, that seems to be the best for uploading, because it has to process and it takes a while, and really the idea of these clips are as quick as possible, to be able to turn them around and post them. So anyway, and I understand, like, if you're getting some great footage, if you're interviewing somebody and they're speaking and they'll bring up another point. Okay, well, you're definitely over 2 minutes now. Don't worry about it. Just keep recording, because you can always, wait a little longer for that to upload or trim it to however you like before uploading. And we'll go into that later, but I understand, some people need to get warmed up for answers, and but we want to keep them short, and that's kind of the idea of this whole thing with the cell phones, are just short clips. Okay. And what do we got here? All right, camera settings. Okay, so some of you are on your phones right now, your laptops or iPads, and this might be a little tricky. I don't know if you could do that while you're watching this. You might be able to, but I'm an iPhone user, and the biggest thing really is to set your camera to record high definition and 30 frames a second. So, and I'll show you how to do this. But if you're recording 4K and 60 frames a second, that file is going to be gargantuan, and it's going to take forever to upload that to a cloud or a process too. So if we keep it down to just high definition, 1920, 1080, then and even the frame rate too. So if you were in high definition but 60 frames a second, well, that's an even bigger file than the regular high definition. So anyway, this might be jibber jabber, but it's real easy to fix. So if you're an iPhone user, you could simply click right here in this top left where you see where it says 30 and then HD. Well, that's the correct setting right now that you would want. And but if you wanted to change that, you just click right there, and it will be a spot to, like, say right now it says 4K down here instead of HD, and it says 60 up here. Well, if you just click right there, you can on the fly just change it to HD 30. But if you want to set it as your default and never have to worry about that, then this is the slide for you. So if you go into your settings, and I will render this out, this keynote, and it'll be a PDF, so you can see all this stuff. So I'll send it to you after this. So anyway, so yeah, if you go to your settings on your iPhone, scroll down to camera, click that bad boy, and then you'll see formats. I would click on formats first and then choose most compatible. And what that's going to do is spit out an H.264, an MP4 file. So that's very friendly for editing programs. I know high efficiency sounds great, but Apple has a new codec in the HEVC. We're not sure that's going to work with all of the editing programs out there. It might work with it, but it might choke your system too. So to be friendly, just click on most compatible down there. Jump back out of that, click that camera again, and then you'll be back in the settings. And then your record video, that's your meat and potatoes right here. So so click on record video, and then your HD at 30 frames per second. That's what you want right there. Yeah, any of those other ones are just going to be such a bigger file that it's not going to be efficient really for turning these around pretty quickly. So if you do that, you're all set right there. And anytime you open up your video on your phone, it's always going to be set like that. But like I said, if you've got an iPhone, you can, say you like your default as 4K, with whatever you shoot. You can do that, but you always have to remember to go up here and click that 30 HD for what you'd be doing for Blood Horse. So anyway, so that's the settings for iPhone. Now here is the settings for Android. I don't have an Android. I just took some screenshots. It looks easier than iPhone actually. So excuse me. So let me know if this is not right, but it looks like it's pretty straightforward. So from your Android, just go to camera here, and then top right, it looks like a little wheel. So your settings, and then it looks like your camera settings for your rear camera. And that looks like it's full HD 1920 1080. So that is full HD 1920 1080. And be sure to click that one underneath the 60 frames per second. So it looks like they have two full HDs, 160 and 130. So just click the one that doesn't say 60 and you should be good to go for the best quality for your cell phones. We'll see here. Okay, is everybody with me? I know I'm blowing through this, but I only have like 40 minutes. I've got like a, I don't have a pro account for Zoom, so. Okay. All right, and then, yeah, we're just gonna be practicing. We're gonna practice a little bit on, maybe you can find a friend or a coworker or whatever. If it's really all you're practicing on is being steady, and trying to keep the clips down short. Once again, once we get these lavalier mics, then you'll have pretty much the whole package that you need. I don't know, when you go out to these events, just just the basic things, make sure your phone is charged, and sometimes there's these little battery things that you can bring with you if your battery goes down on your phone. But really, it's kind of amazing what we have in our pockets now. 20 years ago, it would be just ridiculous to think about the quality we're getting out of these little devices, and they are pretty legit. You can make, instead of everything being auto, you can actually go in and make some manual settings if you want to control your light. But we're not going to worry about that. We're gonna use the auto settings on it.
Hey, JD, Byron got dropped out of the meeting. Can you see if you could let him back in?
Yeah, let me see here. Participants. Byron, here he is. Oop. I got a message from Frank too. I think he said, yeah, he wasn't. He said it was too late. Or let's see here. Okay, here we go. Yep. Byron should be back in.
Yeah, I'm back. I apologize. My phone ran out of juice and I had to plug back in.
No worries. I was just talking about yeah. So yeah. I don't know. Where did you?
You were talking about film in high def, 30 frames a second.
Okay.
And,
yeah.
So hopefully I'm smart enough to figure out how to do that on there.
Well,
I won't make you repeat it.
Oh, no problem. I'm going to send out these. Really, all you need is these two frames. So do you have? Forgot what you have.
I have an iPhone, so I'll just
perfect.
screenshot this.
Yeah. Well, I'll send this out. I'll just send these out to you all, and so you have it. You can, because I realize some people are on their phones right now, so it's kind of hard to do that while you're doing this. So, but yeah, it's a pretty easy process to get it to 1080 30 frames a second. That's what most commercials are shot in. Most movies are in 24 or 23:9:8, but most commercials, most TV sitcoms, they're all shot in 30. So anytime you want to shoot higher than that, it's usually just for slow motion, honestly. So, but like I said, you go over 30, and size-wise, it's just going to be a lot bigger, and we're just trying to keep it easy as possible and quick as possible for turnaround. So that's a lot of what I wanted to cover. It's right now 9:40. So if this ends abruptly, then I've pretty much covered everything I need to know. Is there any questions from anyone that, you know, maybe have something about on site or anything? Just
Hey, JD, I've got a question.
yeah.
You talked about filming and, you know, being horizontal and your
Mhm.
lighting and such, but is there an optimal distance to be shooting from a phone to the subject matter?
Yeah. Well, you know, nowadays we have the social what is it, 6 feet? But you know, I mean, this right here, well, this was on, you know, a cinema camera I was shooting this on, but and I think I zoomed in a little bit. So now on your phones, yeah, you do have zoom, but your quality kind of suffers. So you would probably get more of a frame like this up here if you're 6 feet away with your phone. Usually your phone's just automatically wide on a wide lens. I think some of the newer iPhones, they have like 3 cameras, and you could probably choose which, you know, lens you wanted to use, but I wouldn't worry about that, honestly. If you can just
Okay.
if you can just worry about your headroom. So if you're far away from a subject, just make sure you still have enough headroom that the person's head's not getting cut off, or, you know, is just way too much headroom. You know,
Sure.
it's kind of a happy medium. You know, in photography, Ann knows this. There's the rule of thirds, right? So if you can split up an image in thirds, so you just draw lines here and then lines here. And some iPhones, like on my iPhone, I think I have that setting already up. I just have the rule of thirds lines, and so you'll just put your subject on those lines. But I mean, you know, it doesn't really matter. It just, as long as you have enough headroom where it's not getting cut off.
Well, speaking of distances, on the lavalier mics that you're looking at, are they going to have 8-foot, 10-foot cables? I mean, what are you looking at there?
Yeah. Some of these have just enormous cables on them. They're pretty crazy. So yeah, at least 10 foot on some of these.
Okay.
Some of these are 16 feet. Yeah. So I mean, you know, I don't want you to have to walk around with a big reel of cable, and
Sure.
but yeah, I mean, if you have you want to be at least, you know, like say you know, the social distancing goes away hopefully eventually. Well, yeah, you can get you know, 4 feet or whatever, 3 feet from your subject, and then you could get that tight shot. And like I said, if you're 3 feet from your subject, like your phone is not only the camera, but it's also the mic. So like we were talking about earlier, if you can get that mic as close as you can to that subject's source, their mouth, you're going to get great audio, especially on these newer phones. They're ridiculously good audio. And if you're inside or you know, in a quieter environment, you might not even need a lapel mic because you're right there close to them. Now that doesn't mean that there isn't like a weed eater like right over here, or a wind blower, or who knows. But certain situations you can get by without using a lavalier. But to keep everything kind of consistent and everything sounding the same, I would suggest using a lavalier, because if you put a lavalier on somebody right here, you're going to get great audio, like all the time. So yeah, that's, I don't know. We're looking at those, and we'll get a handful of those at first, and we'll run over the plug and play on that too. It's pretty basic, but it's good to know. Cool. Yeah, clean lens. There we go. Yeah, any other questions? This is just the basics, starting out.
So JD, I guess my questions, and I assume this is for a follow-up meeting, is just the whole process of adding it to the cloud, or
Oh, yeah.
that kind of stuff is where I'm kind of clueless.
There we go. So yeah, so that's the next meeting. That's a good segue, man. We've got
Glad
yeah.
to serve it up for you.
Yeah, so that's perfect, man. It's right on a plate. So yeah, so we're gonna be looking at. The idea is you guys will record a mock type of interview clip under 2 minutes, and so now then we will take that clip. I've already created a Google Drive for Blood Horse Plus. And so I will send out the links for that, and then once you have that and you want to upload it to the Google Drive, you'll just create a folder. Say it's whoever that person is interviewing. You could just create that folder right there on your phone, and then upload it to that folder. That way, if somebody else would be editing this, like say, you're on site and you can't get back to a computer or whatever, there's somebody at the office that, okay, well, I'll be there. Just text me when it's up. Then that person will know where to go in that folder and just grab that, and then put the inslate on it. So yeah, that is yeah. So then we'll go into we'll cover all this stuff on the next meeting. And yeah, so when's a good time for you guys? I mean, are Tuesdays fine with you, or I mean, I know the sales are going on right now.
I think we're good. For this group, if everybody in this group can commit to kind of stay at this time on Tuesdays, that would be really helpful. Is there anybody in here who thinks they might have a conflict or a reason to not be able to stick with this group?
No, this works.
Yeah, JD, I think let's keep
Good
this
for me.
and then you and I can talk offline about kind of a good time for the next group.
All right, that
I
sounds
just
good.
want to make sure we get everybody else who was not in this meeting into that second group, so we don't have more than 2 groups going.
Yeah, that sounds good.
You and I can talk about it after.
Yeah, for sure. I'm taking a screen cap here. All right, perfect. All right, well, thanks everyone for showing up. Yeah, we're just kind of taking baby steps here and just getting into it. I know this seems like a lot of extra stuff, but it's really, there's not a lot of extra equipment. I'm trying to keep that equipment down, and it's just a little microphone that you would have to have. But other than that, it's just really the content is what sells. So these are insider looks at something that a lot of people won't get. So yeah, I think it's going to be handy. And if you have any questions, just let me know. Feel free to email me, call me, text me, and I'll help you out with any problems you have. So thanks everyone. I don't want to take up any more of your time, but yeah, I'll send out some invites for the next one, and what we'll be going over, and any links that you'll need.
All right. Thanks, JD.
Thank you for handling.
All right.
Bye-bye.
Thank you. Have a good one.